For the past 3 years, the South African Municipal Workers Union has fought a bitter struggle against the privatization of municipal services. This video tells the story of just one of those fights. In Johannesburg, South Africa's most unequal city, SAMWU is fighting a restructuring plan known as Igoli 2002. Igoli 2002 would see most of the city's services privatized and its assets sold off. In June 1997, the local government bargaining council reached agreement that the public sector is the preferred provider of services. So when a small committee from the Johannesburg Metro Council began investigating restructuring a few months later, warning bells rang. About 20,000 workers immediately took the streets, demanding transformation, not restructuring, and service delivery for all, not only for the rich.
The big problem is that the Department of Constitutional Development, the department which is headed by Comrade Vali Mota, that department, comrade, is not prepared to respect that agreement. That department, comrade, is saying, we hear what you're saying, but we will push ahead with privatization.
We will not privatize the services where people will lose jobs. We will not contract out where people will lose jobs.
Although the council said they would not privatize services, this had been forgotten by January 1999. Also forgotten was a framework agreement signed the month before, which made it difficult for the municipalities to privatize. After a weekend getaway, where a small group of top councillors and officials studied recommendation by private consultants and World Bank advisors, the Igoli 2002 restructuring plan was born. The fresh produce market was put on sale for 200 million, even though its yearly turnover was 5 times that. The market generated an enormous 23 million per year in profit that could be used to cross-subsidize other municipal services. This key job creation asset, selling the produce of 10,000 farmers monthly to 200,000 hawkers and shopkeepers across Southern Africa, now faces an uncertain future. Other organizations also saw that Igoli 2002 would bring hardship instead of transformation.
The Igoli 2000 project was inadequate. One, without doing away with the financial crisis that the Johannesburg municipality finds itself in. But we think that the broad thrust of the document does not address transformation, and the aspect of privatization will, in the long term, disadvantage the very point that the document starts with, and which is that of developing Johannesburg. We think that in 10 years' time, there will be no development. In fact, you might have the opposite.
SAMWU tried to take up the matters in the bargaining council, spending months in negotiations.
Unions representing employees in local government, which employees are part of the community as well. We share an equal, if not more, interest, as with the rest of the council, to ensure that the problems, be they financial, be they institutional, they are properly addressed, so that we are able to speedily meet the tasks that are set local government by the Constitution in terms of service delivery and so on. But that will require, if we are to avoid any interruption, that we do things in the open and we do them, frankly.
In this pre-meeting caucus with the other local government unions, IMATU, the unions agreed that Igoli 2002 was an unworkable plan.
What we're saying there is that before things can be outsourced or sold, we have to first consider these laws and ensure that we are in compliance, because there's much emphasis in this that you cannot just sell for the sake of selling or outsource for the sake of outsourcing. But let's deal and see what is our internal capacity to deal with this.
Yeah, but can I just add to that? You see, the problem is their approach. You see, when they take Metro Gas, they simply look at it as one entity. not as part of, the entity of council as a whole. And therefore, if there's a problem, therefore, in Metro, they're not seen as part of the general problem within the council. It's just Metro, gas, and therefore it's got to be solved.
So what we are seeing now is that people retire, they're not replaced. People resign, they're not replaced. People die, they're not replaced. But we are getting appointments of manager so-and-so, EO that and that. And the actual people who do the actual job are not replaced. But managers are getting appointed, and we don't know what are they doing.
We want the whole of Fortnite for Bargaining Council on Thursday to explain the document.
But council bosses resisted all attempts to negotiate Igoli 2002 or come up with another plan that would fit the requirements of the framework agreement. Instead, in May, they hiked up rates by 10% just a few days before, offering themselves double salaries if they could privatize 7 assets in 7 months. SANCO had a problem with this.
Council will be retrenching a lot of workers, but then giving a bonus of 2 million rand to 4 workers, which is a major problem.
I must indicate to the employer that as labor, we are extremely angered by the apparent bad faith with which the proceedings of this meeting are being conducted. And that flows from us having read this thing from the so-called Igoli. Because from our point of view, if this is what is going to be happening, then what is the point of these meetings? And therefore, before even we waste our energies in trying to correct the minutes, we've got to clear up the playing field. Because what is happening clearly, with the extras that you've given us, is the implementation of the things that are supposed to be negotiated here. Now, I must say, Labour is angry, but I'm personally very angry. Because I don't want to be treated like a stooge or a fool. When in fact things are happening behind our back, and we're not told about them. There's things here that almost every item that Labour has to be informed, and we've hardly received any information on that. And then we're coming to spend hours and hours discussing things, trying to agree on the way that we're going to deal with issues, when in fact they're being implemented behind our back. What kind of negotiation is that? Now, we want to express that, we're angry, that first of all these have to be rescinded. All these decisions of this, thing called they have to be rescinded. Otherwise, we are prepared to declare disputes now and not proceed here, coming here and, discussing these issues and negotiating them. We're not prepared to have that. And therefore, unless we get a guarantee that all these things are going to be rescinded, then we'll have to reconsider our position and see what steps we take in invoking the Labour Relations Act and all the other, legislation that gives us, opportunity to deal with the matters of this natural gas here, where there's already figures attached, which is a clear indication that work has been going on for quite some time. And, point 4 of that thing says that the respective labour unions, management staff and other stakeholders be informed of the outcome of the study, as well as the decision of the transformation of
to make, through you, Chair, is we can set aside an item in our negotiating committee agenda where we will bring you up to date on all of the investigations and give you copies of all of the reports of the work that has been carried out to date. The implementation of any of these things can be subject to discussion here. That would be, I don't think that would be a major problem.
But I mean, you see, the fundamental problem remains, which in my view, and I think I'm speaking here on behalf of Labour, does not clarify the concept that we have. We said on the 20th of May in 1999 to reach an agreement as to what process the proposal as encapsulated in Igoli 2002 is going to be discussed and negotiated. And the agreement is clear on that. Nowhere does the agreement say that there's other aspects of it, by the way. We started long ago. Nothing in this thing will be implemented right outside of the process of negotiation.
We also have agreed that we would like to have such written guarantee not later than the end of business today. I think we have the day to ourselves and we would like to have that guarantee before end of business today.
This signed agreement was not worth the paper it was written on. Within days, the very same Lekgotla was announcing in the press that privatization's plans were reaching their final stages. SAMWU held a mass report back meeting within union branch members in August to discuss the crisis.
What we are doing here today is to report back about the meeting that we had this today with the employers. Firstly is that we were going to discuss the issue around local government restructuring. Got a report from the employers that they are going ahead implementing, regardless of what the labor's position is, they are going to implement. We have a problem with the approach that the employers are taking. And that's why we have called for this meeting, to come and report back into this meeting today of the process. And from this meeting, we then have to take a decision of the way forward that we are going to take.
Abasebenzi mabaqine ngoba lo mzabalazo ubalekile ngoba if siyawuluza what it means is that sizolahlekelwa imisebenzi and futhi apho sihlala khona uzohlala kumdaka kuzohlala kungekho zindlu asizifundi zonke ezo nto ezo whereas abantu sibonyulileyo ukubana basiteke into esizifunayo izindlu imisebenzi erayithi amanzi umbane zonke.
Workers need to intensify their struggle and calling again the employer back to the table and where we'll sit and negotiate and agree if there are need to implement anything from Igoli 2002. That's what the comrade was saying. Amandla! Phansi ngeGoli phansi! Phansi ngeGoli 2002 phansi! Ayihambe iGoli 2002 ayihambe! Comrades, we are saying Igoli 2002 does not address the question of service delivery. It doesn't talk about how are we going to provide services in areas that were formerly disadvantaged. All what Igoli says is how are we going to sell assets that are so valuable to us as workers.
In today's meeting, we asked them whether they're implementing or not. They've called the Igoli Summit and agreements were reached and they are also undermining those agreements. Last year was an agreement that was reached at national level. Comrade, what is clear is that when we meet with them, it is clear that we are going to deadlock. It is clear, comrades, that the employers are prepared to fight and we are confident that we'll win that fight. They've lied to the community. It is providing very cheap energy to only the rich presently. Gas is far cheaper than electricity. It has been providing energy for 100 years for this city. And our argument is that why can't it be extended to other areas, right? Especially in the squatter camps? Because once a privatized gas is going to be expensive and it will never reach the poor communities. Comrade, in housing, there's a need for people to have houses instead of privatizing them. Our position is that this council have the capacity to build houses than selling them. Most of the houses in this city, Soweto and most of the suburbs, were built by workers from this city. We have departments that were meant to build houses with highly skilled artisans who are doing nothing presently. Comrade, we are saying if those departments are put in good use, will be profitable. Amandla! Amandla! Equal 2002 pounds, equal 2002 pounds.
Lalo government wethu local government umasipala wethu akekho umuntu ozomthatha. Kodwa masingasonga izandla. Labo tsotsi laba, otsotsi. Uma ngabe bekhona la
lidlulise lo mlayezo kuba ukuthi ngithe wotsotsi.
Within days, SAMWU had declared a dispute. A month later, on October 26th, workers took to the streets once again. The workers were not the only angry ones. Hawkers had also been evicted from their trading places as part of Igoli 2002. Hawkers, a valuable part of the economy, were being treated like second-class citizens.
We don't want this privatization, and we don't want that ghetto.
The General Secretary of the South African Communist Party also spoke.
We firmly believe that local government is a very important component of taking forward our democratic revolution. We believe that what is happening in Johannesburg is not only a local matter, a Johannesburg matter, it's not only a Gauteng provincial matter, but it is a national matter. We are saying, comrades, our very serious concern and problem as the SACP with the Igoli 2002 is that it is clear that there has not been adequate consultation, but also what concerns us is that it is a violation of the National Framework Agreement reached between the Union and the local government association. We are saying to them, go and tell the bosses that also they must stop fighting for their narrow interest, which is profit and their own pocket. It cannot only be the workers in this country who are expected to tighten their belts in order for us to transform our country. We cannot allow workers to pay the price for inefficient management of our own cities, of our own structures. If other cost options were considered, when were they considered? By who? And what are the reasons for actually not considering public partnership and government community
Trevor Ngwane, an ANC ward councillor from Soweto, had been halted before a disciplinary committee the week before. His crime was writing an article in a Sunday paper saying that councillors had not been consulted on Igoli 2002. After the march, he was suspended from 3 office bearers' positions and suspended from the ANC for 2 years.
I'll never leave the workers as a councillor. Even if they can send us to disciplinary committee. There are those councillors, comrades. It's a challenge to them. This is a challenge to them. Do they want to be part of the problem? Or do they want to be part of the solution? There will never be a solution or even a problem-solving mechanism in that country. Because they are consultants in that international aspect. Because of the people from the international world. Even us, as councillors who are not being asked, we are told. I was called before the DC. I'm surprised that when you speak on behalf of the people who have voted you in, you must be disciplined.
The COSATU provincial secretary made some good points.
We are saying Keto should go because we as inhabitants of South Africa or of Johannesburg did not vote for Keto. We never had voted to privatize.
SAMWU's first vice president, Boss Ngoko, added his voice.
Around the world, comrades, Privatization has not been a success. Now it is your sole responsibility as workers to see that the community is informed of what is happening.
After the march, the Lekgotla attacked SAMWU in the press, saying that workers were violent, ignorant and misguided. Lekgotla chief, Kenny Fitla, vowed to speed up implementation of Igoli 2002. Financial services said that they would donate 20 million to the council to implement the plan and loan an even bigger amount at a later stage. Councillor Trevangwane said, "I will continue to criticize Igoli 2002. The issue is not about me, but about democracy and what is best for Johannesburg. SAMWU will continue to mobilize all Johannesburg stakeholders to keep up the fight."
But one thing is clear is that we must prepare ourselves for a fight. We know that we are very good in that field. We've been engaged in this type of fight in the past. We've always come out winners. We have managed to win in 1980, even when they tried to dismiss us. We came back from the street, back into this council again. They will stop us to do it again. We did it in 1991, 1995. There's no way that we can throw in the town without a fight this time. Amanza! 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 Amanza!